think indigenous feminism is much better because it's like that's based in matriarchal leadership, in my opinion. Women are life givers, even if they don't have kids. They don't have to be a mother, but they're life givers and sacreds, you know? So, all right, let's get started. Fatima. Well, that's a different song. New beginning. All right, Fatima, let me bring you up. Oh, you're up. Well, not yet. All right. I don't have many coins for the people. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. I only do the gift thing because it's just for the algorithm, even though it doesn't do shit to it. But everybody, please don't worry about my goals. Worry about Fatima. Always worry about Fatima first. All right. Come, brothers and sisters. March 12th, 1995. To the people of Mexico, to the people of the world, brothers and sisters, with old pain and new death, our heart speaks to you so that our hearts may listen. Just in living, we were in pain. Just in being, we were hurt. Being silent, our voice was passing away. Our voice spoke of peace, but not of yesterday's peace, which was dead. Our voice was about tomorrow's peace. The fire tended in days gone by that spoke for our race when all were deaf to death. We stayed behind, still lost in the auroras of the mountains. Our tears asked for another way. So our dead spoke. The oldest ones then consoled us to look to where the sun walks, to ask our brothers and sisters of our race, our blood and hope, where our pain should walk, and where to walk or our tired step. Sorry. We did this, brothers and sisters, when silence arrived to put out the fire, and there was no arrogance in the true men and women's word for those in other lands and other races who shared the pain and the wish for tomorrow. We opened our hearts, brothers and sisters. We learned to see and to listen to others, to different brothers and sisters. We listened to their words and saw into their hearts. And we saw in their step the same longing that put the fire in our hands, that broke up our face until it was nothing but a gaze, that hid our name and erased our past, the struggle to rule by obeying, to live free, to free the word and the heart, to give and receive that is deserved. The struggle for democracy, freedom, and justice, nothing more, nothing less. These brothers and sisters' words, your word, ask us to try another path, to leave pending. Oof. And pending and waiting, the fire that armed the breast. You said for us to talk, and that through these words would come our destination. Sorry. And the others were you who, like us, are the always forgotten, who, like us, are always humiliated, our brothers and sisters. And so we spoke. Our voice spoke with the powerful Lord. Obeying, we sent our word to the great house of money. We spoke and we listened. We were following the path when treason once again put weapons above words. Our voice was silenced at once by the noise of the machines of war. Terror was unleashed again in the Mexican land by the one who, from arrogance and power, looked at us with contempt, denies our name, gives us death in answer to our thought. It wasn't enough for him to deny us a face and a life. We wanted to humble the dignity of our step, trample our just demands, take truth from our song, bury our flag of oblivion. With the complicity of big money and the foreign vocation, he wanted to humiliate us, even in our speech. Turning back the wheel of history, he wanted to force us with bayonets to deny our history. Our women suffered the harassment and the humiliation of the machines of war. Some of the children, the ones who didn't die, grew with bitterness and impotence between their hands. Hate sharpened in our men's hearts. The eldest grandparents again looked to the earth and asked counsel of the first dead. They spoke. We, the always dead, they said, quote, our hands has not raised armed to listen, to kneel, to insult the humiliations. Our step did not raise so that he who is double-faced could humiliate us by fulfilling hopes with lies. Our hands was armed, and our step raised for justice, but not the justice that is the false promise that dresses the powerful. Our hand was armed, and our step raised for freedom, but not the freedom that is sold for the fistful of coins to the foreign hand. Our hand was armed, and our step arised for democracy, a democracy that is still absent because of men who was carried into government with cynicism, crime, and lies. Any brothers and sisters, but that dignity be trampled again. Any brothers and sisters, but that lies again filled our table. Any brothers and sisters, but for forgotten tomorrow again. Thus they spoke. Our dead said this, and the war came. Then we saw our brother come in other clothing. We came to kill, to die. Again, we do not want to raise our hand in to confront the one set to kill and to die among the same brothers and sisters. For that reason, our paths went to the mountains. We went into the caves of those who came before us. Death cornered us and pursued the lives of those who always passed away in obscurity, shades of death and of the shallow of the forgetful country. Again, death came to wield its knife-edged oblivion. It came to kill memory. Again, our hand filled with the fire to avenge our own pain. Again, being animals eating dirt, dying, persecuted and forgotten. Already the drums call to war. Already the Batman and woman prepare their fight of mortal death. Now pain's night came again to cover the vengeance of the truth of men and women. But from where the sun walks, there came another voice that was not of death. It was a big voice that came with the wind. Our hurting hearts waited and heard what the voice spoke. War must not walk, it said. Death must wait. That the heart of the true men and women, not by a mere of pain again. This we did. The bitterness was put away in the caves, and our pain awaited for that voice to shout. The voice spoke strongly. How could many parts? Great was the song of its drums. Only the arrogant closed their hearts. Without fire, with the name and face, that voice raised again the banner of human dignity. For that voice we were not animals. We were men and women again. The voice came walking from our lands, from far away, from the heart of other lands, from other mountains, from other hopes kin to ours. This voice became strong and great, became the relief of our pain. And by waiting, we harvest hope. The voice was a seed in the collective hearts that walks in our step. Brothers and sisters, that voice gives us a name. No longer are we the unmentionables. We, the forgotten, have a name. Now, without hiding, our flag can cover our dead and our history. Now we have a place in the heart of our brothers and sisters, you and a small corner in history that really counts, that of the struggle. Having now a collective name, we discover the death shrieks and become small before us. The worst death, that of oblivion, flies so that the memory of our dead will never be buried together with their bones. We have now a collective name, and our pain is sheltered. We Now we are larger than death. Now that we have a name, we hope that tomorrow, brothers and sisters, you will give us a face, that you will put out the fire that lives in your hands. And instead of the past, give us a future. Tomorrow's lives smile for those who are the always dead. In the mountains, one can hear the bones of the men of wood, the men and women of corn dance. Our heart is joyful, even as our body hurts. The light shines on these shadows that always dance with death, the true men and women of always. We are named. Now we will not die. Come, brothers and sisters, we cannot go. Great is our strength if you make it so. Come, there will be no fire to receive your step, nor will our heart be close to our word. Come, we have a name. Now we will not die. Let us dance. Health to you, brothers. Death to death. Long live the EZLN. Democracy, freedom, and justice. From the mountains of the Mexican Southwest. Clandestine Indigenous Revolutionary Committee General Command of the AZLN. All right, that was good. 14. The Word and the Silence, October 12th, 1995. Where is it? Hold on a second. I'm looking for something real quick. All right, that's all I needed to do. All right, here we go. October, okay. To the people of Mexico, to the people and the governments of the world, brothers and sisters, today we're remembering our oldest elders, those who initiated the long struggle of resistance against the arrogance of power and the violence of money. They are our ancestors, taught us that a people with pride are a people who do not surrender, who resist, who have dignity. They taught us to be proud of the color of our skin, of our language, and of our culture. More than 500 years of exploitation and persecution have not been able to exterminate us. We have resisted since the time because history has been made with our blood. The noble Mexican nation rests on our bones. If they destroy us, the entire country will plummet and begin to wander without direction or roots. A prisoner of the shadows, Mexico, would negate its tomorrow by denying its yesterday. Today, we are fundamental parts of a country whose governing officials have a foreign vocation and look with disdain and repugnance at our past. For them, we are a brother. Right? For them, we are a brother, an obstacle that must be eliminated silently. Their cruelty is seen today as a form of charity. Death looks like silent paths. It looks for their complicit darkness and the silence that hides. They have already tried to exterminate us. Different doctrines and many different ideas have been used to cover ethnocide with rationality. Today, the thick mantle that which they try to cover their crime is called neoliberalism, and it represents death and misery for the original people of these lands and for all of those of a different skin color with a single indigenous heart that we call Mexicans. Today, the conquerors continue to persecute the indigenous who are rebellious. Today, the modern invaders of our lands live in a supreme government. They pursue the indigenous people who cover themselves with a flag of the red five-pointed star, a flag of the Zapatistas National Liberation Army. But they pursue not only the Zapatistas, death decreed by power pursues all the indigenous of Mexico, including those with fair skin. Our brothers and sisters of Guerrero suffered the intolerance of the viceroy, who is supported by the Central Powers. Our brothers and sisters of Tabasco suffers the imposition of drug trafficking and its dirty money. In Veracruz or Ascara, Hidalgo, and St. Louis Poteso. The blood of the dark ones is pursued by political bosses, disguised as government officials. To the north, our indigenous brothers pay with death and poverty for the empire of drugs and crime that the bad government has constructed in the central and western part of the country. Brutality and disdain walk disguised as progress. Power's servant smiles while he negotiates overseas a price for the motherland. The arrogant one thinks that he has won and that there is no people with dignity left under our Mexican skies. He thinks that death will complete what oblivion and silence have tried to end. They offer a nation of shadows, docile and humiliated. They seek a price for that which cannot be bought. Mexico's dignity. Indigenous blood is nourishment of Mexican blood. But the color of the skin does not define the indigenous person. Dignity and the constant struggle to be better define him. Those who struggle together are brothers and sisters, regardless of the color of our skin or the language that we learn as children. What matters is the national flag, the one that acknowledges the indigenous foundation of the nation that until now had condemned them to despair. What matters is the national emblem, which prevents power's serpent from conquering. What matters is the land that sustains us in history and prevents us from abandoning ourselves. What matters is the sky that carried on our shoulders. The sky that today weighs greatly, but that will heal our vision. What matters are Mexicans, and not those who sell us by knocking on foreign doors. What matters is our elders who receive the word and the silence as a gift in order to know themselves and to touch the heart of the others, speaking and listening as how true men and women learn to walk. It is the word that gives form to that walk that goes on inside us. It is the word that is the bridge to cross to the other side. Silence is what power offers or pain in order to make us small. When we are silenced, we remain very much alone. Speaking, we heal and we heal the pain. Speaking, we accompany one another. Power is the word to impose his empire of silence. We use the word to renew ourselves. Power uses silence to hide his crimes. We use silence to listen to one another, to touch one another, to know one another. This is the weapon, brothers and sisters. We say the word remains. We speak the word. We shout the word. We raise the word, and with it break the silence of our people. We kill the silence. We live the word by living the word. Let us leave power alone in what the lies speaks and hushes. Let us join together in the word and the silence which liberate. 503 years ago, today, October 12th, the word and the silence of power began to die. 503 years ago, today, October 12th, our word and our silence began to resist, to fight, to live. Today, 503 years later, we are still here. There are more of us, and we are better. We are the many colors, and many are the language that speaks our word. Today, there is no shame in our hearts because of the color of our skin or our speech. Today, we say we are indigenous. We say it like giants. Today, 503 years after death from a foreign land arrived to bring us silence, we resist and we speak. Today, 503 years later, we live. Long live the indigenous Mexican. Is Cuba communist? I think there might be on a process, but not really. I mean, like, they are dealing with imperialism, sanctions, and embargoes. So I do support Cuba because they have been underfoot of the colonial, the neo-colonial, and the domination of imperialism. Democracy, liberty, and justice. From the mountains of the Mexican Southwest, clandestine Indigenous Revolutionary Committee, General Command, Command Zapatista Nacional Liberation Army. All right, next one is 15, which goes in Fourth Declaration of the Lacandon Jungle. Excerpt, January 1st, 1996. Today we say, we are here. We are rebel dignity. We're rebel dignity, the forgotten and the homeland. All those communities, all those who work the land, all whom we invite to stand, walk with your help. We must continue to struggle and not rest until the land is our own, the property of the people, of our grandfathers, taken from us by those who crushed the land with their stone steps, beneath the shadow of those who have gone before us, who command us, that with the strength of our heart and our hand held high, we raise to be seen by all that beautiful banner of the dignity of freedom and freedom of we who work the land, that we must continue to struggle until we defeat those who have crowned themselves, those who have helped to take the land from others, those who make much money with the labor of people like us, those who mock us in their estates. That is our obligation of honor. If we want to be called honest men and good inhabitants of our communities, now then, somehow, more than ever, we need to be united with all our heart and all our effort in that great task of attaining a marvelous and true unity, commenced by those who preserve purity in their heart, guard their principles, and do not lose faith in a good life. We beg that those who receive this manifesto pass it on to all men and women of all communities. Liberty, reform, liberty, justice, and law. Emilio Zapata. Original Zapatistas manifestos written by Nahat to the people of Mexico, to the peoples and the governments of the world. Brothers and sisters, the flower of the world will not die. The masked face that today has a name may die, but the word that came from the depths of history and the earth can no longer be cut by power's arrogance. We were born of the night. We live in the night. We will die in her. But tomorrow the light will be for others, for all those who today weep at the night, for those who have been denied, the day for those whom death is a gift, for those who are denied life. The light will be for all of them, for everyone, everything. For us, pain and anguish. For us, joy and rebellion. For us, the future denied. For us, the dignity of insurrection. For us, nothing. Our fight has been to make ourselves, and the gifts of the bad government are lead and paper for our children's stomach. Our fight is for the worthy roof over our heads, and the bad government destroys our homes and our history. Our fight is for knowledge, and the bad government distributes arrogance, ignorance, and disdain. Our fight is for the land, and the bad government gives us symmetry. Oh, let me hear this word real quick. I hope it's not going to do this big thing.
Our fight is for knowledge, and the bad government distributes ignorance and disdain. Our fight is for the land, and the bad government gives us cemeteries.
Cemeteries. Okay, yeah, cemeteries. All right, just wanted to make sure. Okay, our fight is for a job that is just and dignified, and the bad government buys and sells our bodies and our shame. Our fight is for life, and the bad government offers death as our future. Our fight is for respect, for our right to sovereignty and self-government, and the bad government imposes the law of the few on the majority of the people. Our fight is for freedom and of thought and movement, and the bad government builds jails and erects graves. Our fight is for justice, and the bad government is made up of criminals and assassins. Our fight is for history, and the bad government proposes to erase history. Our fight is for the homeland, and the bad government dreams with the foreign flag and language. Our fight is for peace, and the bad government announces war and destruction. Housing, land, employment, food, education, independence, democracy, liberty, justice, and peace. These were our banners during the dawn of 1994. These were our demands during the 500-year-long night. Today, these are our demands. Our blood and our word have lit a small fire in the mountain, and we walk the path against the house of money and of the powerful, brothers and sisters of our races and languages and other colors, but with the same heart. Now protect our light, and in it they drink the same fire. The powerful came to extinguish us with its violent wind, but our light grew in other lights, sorry. The rich still dream about extinguishing the first light. It is useless. There are now too many lights, and they have all become that first one. The arrogant wish to extinguish the rebellion that they mistakenly believe began in the dawn of 1994. But the rebellion, which now has a dark face and an indigenous language, was not born today. It spoke before with other languages in other lands. This rebellion against injustice spoke in many mountains, in many histories. It was already spoken in Nelhot, in Papai, in Kiowa, in Kukapa, in Kochamaya, in Kumia, in Yama, in Sura, in Choleto, in Chinasenko, Pame, Chikamek, Otomi, Mezhu, Maltazaka, Akolako, Mezoteco, Chocho, Ikateko, oh my gosh, Hueve, Lempentico, Tonaka, Tempiha, Pulaco, Mixi, Zoquin, Zoqua, Hasenteco, Lancando, Mayo, Chol, Zelato, Zeltele. I can't say those. The TZ's hard for me. Tojalabo, Mame, Teco, Elex, Aquosectico, Moto Senletico. Sorry, everybody. Chico Mo Seletico, Castellinian was spoken and is still spoken. Rebellion is not a question of language. It is a question of dignity and of being human. Because we work, they kill us. Because we live, they kill us. There is no place for us in the world of the powerful. Because we fight, they kill us. But only by fighting will we make the world where all of us fit, where all of us can live without death in our words. They want to take the land so that our feet have nothing to stand on. They want to take our history so that we and our word will be forgotten and die. They do not want the indigenous. They want us dead. The powerful want our silence. They want our silent. We died. Without the word, we did not exist. We fight against those loss of memory, against death and for life. We fight the fear of death because we have ceased to exist in memory. When the homeland speaks in indigenous heart, it will have dignity in memory. Brothers and sisters, many words walk in the world. Many worlds are made. Many worlds make us. We are words and worlds that are lies and injustice, that are lies and injustices. They are words and worlds that are truths and truthful. We make true words. We have been made from true words. In the world of the powerful, there is no space for anyone but themselves and their servants. In the world we want, everyone fits. We want a world in which many worlds fit. The nation that we construct is one where all communities and languages fit, where all steps may walk, where all many have laughter, where all many live and live the dawn. We speak of unity even when we are silent. Softly and gently we speak the words that find the unity that embraces us in history, in which all discard the abandonment that confronts and destroys us. Our word, our song, and our cry is so that most death will no longer die. We fight so that many, so they may live. We sing so that they may live. The word lives. Enough is enough lives. The night has become morning lives. One step with dignity, which walks besides those who weep lives. We fight to stop the powerful clock of death. We fight for a time for living. Words, flowers, does not die. Even those silent walks are steps. The word is seated in silence, so that it blooms with a shout. It is silent. The word becomes solder, so as not to die in oblivion. In order to live, the word dies forever, seated in the world's belly. By being born and living, we die. We will always live. Only those who give up their history will return to oblivion. We here, we do not surrender. Zapata is alive, and in spite of everything, the struggle continues. That was again from the Subcomandante. I can't ever say that. Subcomandante Insurgent Marcos, Indigenous Clandestine Revolutionary Community General Command of the Zapatistas Armed and National Liberation. I like saying it. Closing words to the National Indigenous Forum excerpt, January 9th, 1996. Real quick, I'm just going to look back. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. That takes a lot. You do it way faster than I can. So thank you. All right, not too many people. Okay, good. All right. January 9th, 1996, San Cristobal de las Casas, Chiapas. Through my voice speaks the voice of the Zapatistas National Liberation Army. Brothers and sisters, we want to say a few words to those present at the National Indigenous Forum. Nice. The counselors. In many of our indigenous communities in Mexico, there is a custom of looking to the first day of January to see how the months of the year to come will be like. This knowledge helps us know when to prepare the earth, when to plant the seed, when to harvest. Amongst the most ancient Mayans, this practice was known as, Exocan, the accounting of the days. It's XOC-KIN. And it means, I think it means the counting of the days. And there were then, as there are today, learned men and women, the H-men, and those who know. These H-men have great knowledge, which they had learned in their dreams. Through dreams, the gods taught the H-men to the knowledge of the world. And this way, they could find things that were lost. They could cure sickness. And their medicinal plants and their prayers. And they could read the future in their sacred stones or by counting grains of corn. But their main responsibility and concern was to use their knowledge to ensure good harvest. Today we have our H-men, those men and women of knowledge who make up body of counselors in the EZLN, in the search for peace and dignity. There are the ones who organize this forum, which will allow us to find one another and construct the bridge to the seventh rainbow. They dream together with the great gods and ones who give birth to the world, the first ones, and from them learned great words and their best thoughts. They have been able to find things that were lost, like the word, reason, disinterest, and dignity. They have been able to cure that most fatal illness called oblivion. They have been able to read the future by reading that their hearts say and counting the grains of corn, which in today's world are called hearts. But just like our ancient henchmen, the counselors, principal responsibility and concern is to give us knowledge so that we may have a good harvest. Therefore, we ask you, the participants attending the National Indigenous Forum that concludes today, to join us in this salute to our counselors' knowledge. We ask that it may be used to secure a good harvest for the planting of the word and that the knowledge of dignity and of the knowledge of dignity. We ask for an accurate accounting of the Oxkin. I think it's the OXOC-KIN, so that we may know about the days and that our harvest may be good, and that the brown crest of our first inhabitants of this lands may always be filled with hope. There are very varying reasons why some of our counselors are not here today to build this bridge. A good number of our henchmen are not here because they are imprisoned, accused of the crime of belonging to an organization with which the government is holding dialogues sanctioned by law. By keeping them in prison, the government breaks the law that forces it to talk and not to fight. That is why these men and women who are our counselors on this good road and are not here with us today, we, the Zapatistas, want to ask all of you together with us to send a greeting to these prisoners. And we ask you to greet them in a traditional way of indigenous communities by applauding the participants. That's interesting. It's just like every single thing, like these complementary classes is nothing new, because we do that here in the United States. It's to try to stifle a movement. That's why it's more important. Yes, we got to recognize leadership, but when we lose leadership, the movement needs to still keep going and perpetuating. I think that's one facet and significance, that to know if a movement is going in the right, correct line is if the leaders are in prison or unalived, the movement may seek that devastation for a moment, but it needs to continue moving forward and advancing. So interesting, like the same thing that they try to take the leaders in order to stifle a movement. It might be a stifle for a little while, but if a movement is solid in principle, the Zapatistas has been around for fucking ever, so evidently yes, then that means still giving the solidarity to those leaders and recognizing them as leaders still, even though they're in prison. The participants, it is our task, all of us who are joined here at the National Indigenous Forum, to plant the seed of the words that we have gathered during these days here in the Valley of Jovel, where intolerance, racism, and unintelligence of exclusion reign. We have gathered to speak and to know one another. We have gathered up the seed. We must prepare to till the soil. We must prepare tomorrow. Today we must live in a country that is not like the one of our fathers. Today we live in a country with a government that wants to sell us to the foreigners as though we were animals or objects. We, the indigenous people, are not good merchandise, they say. Powers, money, does not want to buy the merchandise that does not yield good profit. And we, the indigenous people, are not profitable. We are a bad investment. That is why the government's shopkeepers hands of oblivion and repression, because he cannot sell us at a good price. Today, the shopkeeper has to modernize his store and get rid of all the merchandise that is unattractive. And we, with our dark skin and our overwhelming need to stay close to earth, which makes us short in stature, are not attractive. They want to forget us. But the indigenous are not the only ones who are threatened by this oblivion. There are many Mexican men and women who are unattractive because they have no dollar value. They who are not indigenous, and us who have been condemned to oblivion. They sell our house, and with it, they sell our history. If we want to save ourselves from oblivion, we must do it together, united. Today, in this motherland, in pain, Hopes has an indigenous heart that with its brown skin, it must save us from oblivion. It is not enough to refuse to die. This is we have learned now for 5 centuries. Now it is necessary to live and to live together with others who are also us. The past is the key to the future. Our past has wisdom that can help us build a future where it fits without being pressed against each other. That the way in which the ones above us press against us today. The future of the nation must be found by looking toward the past, toward those who were the first inhabitants, to those who first had wisdom, who first made us. We have to prepare for the planting. We must become rain. We have to be like the Chacob, the Chaacacob, good gods of rain, who rose from the underground reservoirs, met in the sky, and from there traveled on horseback. Each hold a sacred gourd brimming with water, and rained on the earth from one end to the other, so that all might have water, the giver of life. If the rain does not come, then we must kneel, as our forefathers did, and sing the way the frogs sing before the rain, and beat the branches just like the wind from the storm. And someone will represent Kuna Chaka, the great rain god, with his thunderbolt and sacred gourd. We must know how to sow and how to plant one another. No more are the times when the stones were so soft that they could be moved by whistle, and when it was not necessary to work to plow the field, and when 1 grain of corn was enough to feed a whole family, since the chief was defeated by the foreigner at, here we go, Chinchen Altiza. Could you spell that out for me, Lynn? Thank you. Can you spell that out for me again, Lynn? The one I just came on? The good times have ended and the bad times have begun. The ancient chiefs enter a tunnel that ran east from Tulum, and went beneath the ocean. When the foreigner, the Doles, took power, today we have to return so that reason can reign in our lands. We will do this by seeding the world. We are our earth. We understand well how we and the earth are one. In olden times, the tilled field, what we called the Malapa, was protected by 4 spirits. There were 4 more that cared for the village, 1 for each cross placed at the corner of the village. The Masaholis, our ancient ones, had 7 directions. The first 4 were the corners of the Milpa, or the village, Milpa, or the village. The 5th was at the center which in each community was traditionally marked by a cross and usually by a ceiba tree. The sixth and seventh directions were above and below. In addition to the four guardians for the field and the four for the village. Each person has his own guardian. In order to represent the 5 points, the 4 plus the center, or our ancestors, used a cross. As time passed, the center rose and the 4 corners became 5. And now this star with 5 points represents the guardian of men and women and harvest. So they're going over the star. Okay. The guardian and heart of the people is Volten Zapata, who is also the guardian and heart of the word. He is a man. He is the star with the 5 points that represent humanity, because today we have spoken and listened. He is happy. The heart of Volta Zapata is happy. Brothers and sisters, each one has his own field, his own planting, but we will have the same village. Although sometimes we speak different languages, we wear different colors, clothes, we invite each of you to plant your own plot and in your own way. We invite you to make of this forum a good tiller and make sure that everyone has seed and that the earth be well prepared. We have listened to knowledgeable and good planters like our Mexi brothers and sisters, whose position on autonomy has created a bridge between thoughts, between brothers and sisters. The Tonacos and the Hascholo brothers have also spoken with great truth from the states of Guerrero, Veracruz, and Oaxaca. Have come the voices, brown-skinned and dignified, that speak of the word persecuted by power. Yet the word of wisdom remains. The Chinateco brothers and sisters has spoken with wisdom of women representing them. The Meztecos, or the Mixtecas, and the Zapotecos have opened our eyes and ears, which the heart possesses, but which are sometimes forgotten. The Chantinos, the Choas, the Chotela, the Chontels, the Cocactacos, the Mayans, the Nahats, the Nahun, the Otamis, the Poluca, and Terahomeras, and the Tapahuns are also light in color and in their word. Our Zapotaco brothers and sisters from the United States also have given us the benefit of their thoughts. All of us who are 7, you and us, the brothers and sisters that we are, all of you have undergone great suffering in order to come here, to speak and be spoken to listen and to be listened to. We know it, although others may not. You came even though we did not help you materially. Your communities financed you so you could come here. And you always knew that you would not receive any land, money, or promises, but by coming here, you always knew that you and your community would not have any material reward. You always knew that you were coming to give your word and your examples. And in spite of all this, you came. And my superiors, the commandantes, and of the CCRI-CG of the EZLN have ordered me to thank you in their name and in mine for all that is known and for everything that remains unknown. We thank you for coming all the way here, for speaking and listening, for coming to good understanding that guides our walk. We have nothing material. We have nothing material to give you. All we have is our greetings, and we ask that you accept it as greetings, should be accepted as a gift. I like that. The press. Finally, we want to thank the press, which has also made sacrifices to come and cover this forum. We want to make it clear that we are referring to the real press and not the policemen who hide behind press credentials. We know that we've been discourteous and rude, and some of you have even said that it is the EZLN's press policy. But today I say again that we said to you almost 2 years ago here in San Cristobal during the first dialogues in the cathedral. The press has had an important role in holding back the war and opening the path for peace. Like a great mirror, the press helped this country, which is still called Mexico, to see its true image reflected in the war against oblivion. We know that you are doing your job with interests, professionalism, and pride. We also know that what is made public oftentimes is not your work, but that which is convenient for power and the rich. Some of you complained yesterday that there were no political declarations that was newsworthy. You complained that the sub only came to make lecturer with the stories of old Don Antonio. So now we want to make a very clear political declaration, like all of the EZLN's political declarations, and in response to the audiovisual needs of the mass media present. The declaration will be a rough draft for a video clip. Thank you. P.S. Disguised as a video clip. First, an unfocused shot and a long stretching whistle in a sound and the soundtrack. When the image comes into focus in the background, you can hear the song Cartas Marcadas, and the image bunch up. Power is laughing calmly, celebrating its history and definitive triumph. In the last minutes of 1993, an army of shadows introduces itself between the damp and the cold. Power looks in the mirror and sees itself as eternal and omnipotent. Great wise men predict great triumphs, praise and robust statues scatter throughout the land. A killjoy predicts, quote, you will rule until the jungle walks towards your palace, end quote. The handful of shadows multiplies in the mountains. Power knows that it is impossible for the jungle to walk, and its confidence and euphoria are confirmed. The great wise men are at its side, picking up the party leftovers. The collective shadow approaches with wooden guns in the dawn of the beginning. In the dawn of 1993, the indigenous people come down from the mountains. They go to the palace where power resides to take death and oblivion prisoners, and in their wooden guns walk the trees of the jungle. Power trembles and begins to die. The wooden rifle has inflicted a mortal wound, the end and the beginning. And if this video clip resembles Shakespeare's Macbeth too closely, it's not my fault. Perhaps it is the fault of the greatest gods who can't stand still and Chiapas, and in these modern times, and get into their heads to go off wandering in other worlds and other times, because that's how playful and mischievous these gods can be. The greatest ones and the first ones, the ones who gave birth to the world. Thank you for the mountains of the Mexican Southwest, Subcomandante Insurgent Marcos. 17. How are we doing on time? We're good on time. We're doing great. I'm just looking back. Not many people say stuff, but it's okay. I still look back. Just in case. All right. Oop, I gotta do a puzzle piece. I got it right the first time. Look at me. All right. Today, 85 years later, history repeats itself. April 6, 1996. A message from the EZLN at the inaugural ceremony of the American plan of the Intercontinental Meeting for Humanity Against Neoliberalism, La Realidad America. Javier Ilarange, Berdigu, I don't know, a journalist, a video producer who had been covering the Zapatistas uprising since January 1994, arrived one day and introduced himself as a volunteer in the efforts of finding a political and peaceful solution to the conflict. I listened to him as he argued in favor of peace and against war. He seemed to me to be one of those men who believed in what they said. I told him that we would not lose anything by trying. On September 16, 1994, on the anniversary of Mexico's independence, he arrived with the first of a series of letters from the Mr. Ernesto Zedilio Ponce de Leon. After December 1st, 1994, Javier came and went with messages from the Secretary of the Interior, Esteban Moctezuma Borgran. I don't know. Borgran. I don't know. His work as peace liaison lasted 6 months. The last time I saw him on February 8th, 1995, I told him, and we saw no signs of willingness of the government's part to establish a dialogue. He insisted on looking for a new incenetro for peace. As he was leaving the Lancandian jungle on the morning of February 9th, 1995, Javier Elarange, can't say his name, sorry, was detained and accused of, quote, terrorism. The government began an offensive against the indigenous communities of the Lacandan jungle and arrested dozens of Mexicans in several parts of the country. It accused them of, quote unquote, terrorism and inhabited as a proof of, quote, threatening, end quote, arsenal, paper bombing, and some old weapons. While through the press, the government congratulated itself for having recovered its, quote, national sovereignty in the Lacandan jungle. Swiss planes bombarded the communities, surrounding North American helicopters machine gunned the mountain. French tanks occupied the homes of the indigenous who were fleeing into the jungle. Spanish policemen interrogated suspects, and North American military advisors checked very carefully an artifact that might contain some dangerous military device. This artifact traveled all the way from the Pentagon and was checked by the military's most advanced technological devices. After a few days, the expert turned their findings over to Washington, which in turn forwarded them to the offices of the Mexican military and the political police and a national palace. The report said that all evidence on the artifact in question snatched from the hands of the transgressor of the law indicated that the object might be a little toy car made of metal and plastic. The report was said that they had found a small inscription, probably made with the black ballpoint pen, which read, "This small car belongs to Heriberto. Oh my God. Since then, 420 days have elapsed. Mr. Zeldilio occupies the Mexican presidential seat. Heriberto lives in the mountains. The army lives in his house. And Javier Elaranja, can't say his name, along with 17 other Mexicans, is in jail accused of, quote unquote, terrorism. One of the 17th, Joel Martinez, has respiratory problems as a result of having been tortured because his serious condition. He has just been hospitalized. Today they have him chained hand and foot like an animal with rabies. 120 days after the fact that revealed who the real terrorist is, he wanted to dedicate these words to Javier Elaranja Bordegu, and through him to all the incarcerated Zapatistas in the definition of their future. Many more things are defined than those imagined by their jailers. Through my voice speaks the Zapatistas National Liberation Army. All right, American brothers and sisters, welcome to La Realidad. Our special thanks to the men and women and children of La Realidad who given us permission to have supported us in setting up this planning meeting in their community. I want to ask everyone that together we greet our indigenous brothers and sisters of La Realidad. We welcome the brothers and sisters from the delegations of Canada, United States, Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Ecuador, Brazil, Peru, Chile, Uruguay, and Argentina. We welcome the observers from France, Germany, and Spain. We welcome the Mexican brothers and sisters from the Organizing Commission. We recognize our efforts which have shaped today, and we thank you. We are grateful to you for having accepted our invitation and having made your way from our countries to the Lacandan jungle. The Lacandan jungle is a hideout for transgressors of the law, and a dignified corner of America has already been visited by diverse representatives from our country's governments. We have been visited by bomber planes, armed helicopters, war tanks, spy satellites, military advisors, and agents. Some secret, some not so secret, some from espionage organizations of many countries. All of these visitors have a common objective: assassination and robbery. And most sophisticated modern war technology is unleashed against the wooden weapons and broken feet and the ancestral philosophy of the Zapatistas, which declares without shame or fear that the place of knowledge, truth, and speech is in the heart. Modern death versus ancestral life. Neoliberalism against Zapatismo. Why do they fear us? Why so much hate for so few in a small and so small a group? Because we have defied them. And the worst part about defiance is that that is established a precedent. On April 3rd, 1911, two citizens of the Americas, Ricardo and Enrique Flores Magon, wrote, "Compañeros, think well, keep on going. Work without wasting time. Before your help arrives too late, try to understand the dangers to us as we confront every government in the world which sees in this Mexican movement an emerging social revolution, the only kind of revolution that they fear. Today, 85 years later, history repeats itself. In the past, death only came to visit, cloaked in illness and misery. Today, it also comes wearing an olive tree uniform, carrying war machines, and announcing destruction, and led announcing destruction. An armed multinational force persecutes us and tries to destroy what we stand for. The powerful of the world are bothered by our existence and honor us with their threats. They are right. The Zapatistas' defiance is the global defiance. We never assumed it to be so. We never imagined it, but we accept that role. We will be as vocal as possible. A world system makes it possible to transform crime into government in Mexico. A national system makes it possible for crime to rule in Chiapas. In the mountains of the Mexican Southwest, we struggle for our country, our humanity, and against neoliberalism. That is why the world powers persecute us, jail us, murder us. That is why they want to destroy us. After visiting from the the harbingers of death, it is our honor for us to have you visit, you who struggled for life and for humanity in the American continent. You are sure that the trip to La Realidad has not been easy. Reality, quote unquote, is never easy, but it is well worth getting there. The trip to La Realidad is a journey towards suffering, but also towards hope. Today, here in La Realidad, are gathered different thoughts from different nations. They are called together not because of their nationality, not because of their sex or color, not because of their culture or language. Only one thing has summoned us: the struggle for humanity and against neoliberalism. 80 years ago, in 1916, General Emiliano Zapata dreamt that life and thought could be free if they built a new reality. Those in power then dreamt his destruction. Today, sitting on the desk of Mexican and the U.S. general, you can find diverse plans, complicated military operations, and 77 different types of death threats, one for each year that has elapsed between Emiliano Zapata's assassination, and all those plans have as their object of destruction of La Realidad. Why? Because they have discovered that human beings, that is to say, dignified human beings, live in La Realidad, and those in power cannot tolerate that. That is the enemy we are facing, who persecutes us, murders us, jails us, grapes us, humiliates us. Those in power who have the absurd notion to destroy La Realidad. That is what they want. Those in power who concentrate crime and wealth and bind like them Siamese twins, using crime's army to hold up to wealth. Those in power who monopolize the future exclude everyone. They cannot convert into an accomplice or a victim. Those who, in the exercise of power, forget that by accumulating power, they accumulate fear. They hope to destroy La Realidad because there are human beings here whose very existence is an act of defiance that can set an precedent. We who nourish the heart with a bitter bread of hope. We who see the past, a lesson to be learned and not an obstacle, who turn towards yesterday to learn, not to repent. We who look at the future as something that is built on the present, who hope for tomorrow for everyone. We who balance fear with shame, prudence and with courage, indifference with memory. We human beings who exist, who defy power, who want to transform La Realidad and change it into something better, something new, something good. This is the fight for La Realidad. Some want to build it. Others want to destroy it. They want to destroy it with the absurdity of denying it through oblivion, destruction, and death. We want to build it with the absurdity of rebuilding it through history, creativity, and life. This is a dilemma that we have come to think about, the beginning to speak about the dilemma of La Realidad. This is a fundamental and definitive theme of humanity and against neoliberalism. In order to solve this dilemma, we have to face a very powerful enemy cloaked in neoliberalism. Its crime recognizes no national borders. They represent a globalization of despair. Neoliberalism offers us a new world doctrine, surrendered and indifference as the only means of inclusion, death and oblivion as the only future for those excluded, ignorance and arrogance as the only government, crime of it and impunity as the highest law, robbery and corruption as the main industry, assassinations as a source of legitimacy, lying as a supreme god, prisons and graves for those who are not willing to follow, war always. That is neoliberalism, but its power is also based on our weakness to our lack of alternative proposals. They offer a continuation of the nightmare. We must go beyond limitations and propose new possibilities. We did not invite you here to accumulate complaints. We do not call on you to embody our misfortunes or to bring a continental dimension to our nightmare. We invite you to multiply our hopes. We call upon you to lessen our hardship. We give hope to continental dimensions. Don't let our enemy grotesque, a terrible image dull the mirror where we seek our own road. Let's not hide arbitrariness and laziness within ourselves, covering them under the daily crime of the world. Order the turns history, nations and individuals into dust. Let's not offer a new nightmare under the different guise. Let not the complicated political geometry, which multiplies centers and extremes, and phantom signify impunity for the errors committed. We do not come together today to change the world. We are here today with the most modest of purpose to make a new world. Here we today in America, a continent of legends. The American continent is a piece of land where all world meets. A people without land, that is to say, a people without a homeland. Migrant America dreams that it can work and live in peace and dignity on any land, regardless of the borders above or below. The migrant finds neither work nor land in American soil. He finds only war and humiliation in these lands, where he steals nothing and gives everything. The migrant in America is a stranger to America. For an American to enter a xenophobic nightmare, it is not necessary to cross an international border. Sometimes it suffices to cross even momentarily one of the many culture, political, social, religious, and sexual borders that cloud the American skies, making any notion of collective thought a notion that includes only one. The American migrant is the solitary one, the one made up of millions of beings who search. The American migrant is an endless struggle, the legend, and among many, the legend becomes a ballad survives the lack of books, the press, television, radio. The legend of Gregorio Cortez being chased by ranchers but never caught is a legend of history being chased by oblivion. The history always escaping and becoming collective memories. The legend has come to La Realidad to represent all the migrants who venture in on American soil and make a stab at becoming a part of a new culture without losing their own. Like the legend, power chases after the migrants for not wanting to be what they are, for trying to build something new but different, which destroys neither the past nor the present, chases them for trying to build something that might have a place in the future for North America, a dignified future, a future that does not have prison bars or gravestones on the horizon, like the ballad of Gregorio Cortez. The American migrant will always escape and will continue building the collective memory that those in power insist on destroying all over America, especially in a country that synthesizes like no other, a great contradiction that expresses the American continent, a nation built by the labor of migrants from all over the world. The United States of America raises up as a symbol of power and modernity from its hideaway in North America. The ignorance of power has managed that the world's rejection, well deserved for its foreign policy, contaminate more often than not the noble North American people. But the arrogance of power is only possible at a great cost of the people of the United States of America, not just the minorities, Latinos, Asian, and Black people, but also whites. With the crisis raised to the level of global economy, neoliberalism imposes great suffering north of the Rio Bravo. According to statistics provided by the Organization for Economic Cooperation, the development in the United States, there is a 5.7% rate of unemployment, while in Canada, it is 9.5%. In the United States of America, its people is complex mixture of European, African, Asiatic, Latin American, and indigenous blood, all American. The United States of America, its people forgotten at the hour of solidarity, always remembers at the hour of complaints. The United States of America, its people, who, in spite of their government, know when to look below and find they're a brother and not a victim. Today, we greet the people of the United States and their noble representatives, not as victims, not as executioners, but as brothers and sisters of America. Today, here in La Realidad, we must set apart a place of memory for history for that mirror, which reminds us who we are, shows us what we are, and promises what may come. 30 years ago, in 1966, after having been nowhere, a man Realidad memory and hoped so that life would return to America. Back then, his nom de guerre was Roman. In one of the many corners of the American reality, this man was remembered, and in his memory, he brought to life all men and women who lived and died for Americans' life. His name and his memory were buried by history, ever-present gravediggers. For some, his first name was Ernesto. His last name, Guevara del la Serena. For us, he is El Che, a Pandi El Este. He denounced the politics of power that from the offices of World Bank proposed the building of latrines as a solution to the grave conditions of misery in the countries of America. Since then, poverty in America has developed at the same rate in which this wealth has been plundered, as always, by the same rich. The latrinocracy. Ooh, let me see how to say this word.
The latrinocracy.
The latrinocracy. Also involved, but only in name. Paradoxically, in one American country, it took up the name of solidarity. Nevertheless, in spite some images to the contrary, the basic function of the latrinocracy remains the same today as yesterday. The poor's place is at the bottom of the latrine, while the rich get to sit on the top. El Che's criticism of power did not translate into the endorsement of one's own deficiencies and apologia of the system. Criticizing the use of power's own logic barely distinguished under a new name. To argue against it, he wrote in 1964, quote, "I do not pretend to have exhausted the topic, and much less given the palpable amen over these and other contradictions. Unfortunately, it is the apologies for the system rather than a scientific analysis of the system that most people get to see, myself included." End quote. The citizens of the world, El Che, recalls that we have known since the times of Spartacus, and which we often forget. The fight against injustice is a step that elevates humanity, which makes it better, which makes it more human. Sometime later, memory and hope held his hand to write in his farewell letters, quote, "One day they came and asked who should be notified in case of death, and the real possibility of that fact struck us all. Later, we learned that it was true that in a revolution, one triumphs or dies. If it is a true revolution, other lands in the world call for my modest efforts." And then El Che continue in his journey. When leaving, El Che would say, quote, "Until victory always," end quote. the way someone would say, quote, see you later. Later, 30 years later, during one of those dawns, when the moon recovers pieces of light that time's monthly bite snatches from her and a comet disguised as a flashlight uselessly stands guard at night's entrance. I have looked for some text to carry the opening words to this gathering. I have gone from Pablo Neruda to Julio Cortázar to Walt Whitman to Juan Rulfo. It was useless. Time and again, the image of El Che dreaming in the school at La Hagura claimed, oh wait, who's this in here? Oh, it's just those people. Where was I at? Claimed in its place between my hands. All the way from Bolivia came those half-closed eyes and the ironical smile, recounting that had happened and promising what has to come. I'm going to look ahead real quick. I'm on page 134. Okay. All right, we're good. We'll finish this up. 134. Okay, we'll finish this up. We're going to finish. Okay. All right. Come to say. All right. Did I say, quote, dreaming? Should I have said, quote, dying? For some he died. For others, he fell asleep. Who was wrong? 30 years ago, El Che was readying at the transformation of American reality, and those in power prepared for its destruction. 29 years ago, those in power told us that history was over at the El Hierro mountain pass. They said that the possibility for a different, better reality was destroyed. They said that rebellion was over. Is it over? A quick glance at the papers these past few days might help us answer that question. During the last days of March, several demonstrations against actual economic and privatizing policies have been reported. Neoliberalism faces resistance and rebelliousness. There are millions who ignore this history and along with it deny all dignity. On March 28th, the international news agency AFP, DPA, EFE, and ANSA informed us that in Bolivia's La Paz, Cochabamba, and Santa Cruz, thousands of people marched, demanding a raise in salary and protesting for the privatization of Bolivia oil field. The Cochabamba, the police detained 250 people, most of them elderly, who were on the hunger strike, protesting for the same reason. Rebel elders, long live America. On the same day in Paraguay, workers began a general strike demanding a salary increase of 31% and called for the referendum on the privatization, the democratization, I can never say that word, of decisions making oppose the imposition of economic measures and the educational measures. During those days, more than 5,000 Brazilian students were restrained by the police while protesting against the education policies of President Fernando Henrique Cardoso. In Chile, thousands of farmers blocked the southern highway to protest against Chile's imminent inclusion in the South's common market, Mercosur, which will result in the unemployment of more than 800,000 farmers, impeding severe economic adjustments in Venezuela, has already unleashed a pots and pans movement and general social discontent. The globalization of the economy, the modern crimes, has met with resistance among these clients to the death it sells. Hundreds hundreds of street vendors confronted the Peruvian police when it tried to expel them from Lama's historical center. There are more than 20 wounded. In order not to become criminals, some of America's poor try out micro businesses. It's useless. For neoliberalism, any earnings that do not come from the theft and pillage are illegal. American prisons were filled with the innocent, while the guilty filled government seats. Riot police forces held down thousands of Costa Ricans who were protesting against the installation of a garbage dump in the city of Santa Ana. Neoliberalism dumps more than 1,000 tons of garbage a day on top of Costa Ricans' people. This will not go unpunished. The bowels of America also protest. The announcement of the increase in the aggregate value tax was accompanied by a quake measuring 4.7 on the Richter scale, which shook the city of Quito, Ecuador. All this took place in only 2 days. 30 years later, has rebellion stopped? 30 years ago, El Che dreamed again of a transformed, new and better reality, the dream of rebellion. That dream crosses time and the mountains of the Mexican Southwest. The dream that summons us together today is one of rupture and continuity with Che Guevara's dream, just as his dream was one of rupture and continuity with the dream that kept Simon Bolivar, I can't say his name right, and the Manulatua Sunez awake at night. In 1816, Bolivar, I can't say it. It's my mouth won't let me say it. Let me see if they'll say it. One more page to go, and then we're done. Hold on.
Awake at night. In 1816, Bolivar and C.
Bolivar. Let's say it's Bolivar. It doesn't help me. And the Sanuz kept alive the dream of unified America. The history that those in power tell of the fertile insomnia, while liberated Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. The years later was truncated by borders with walls, fragmenting Bolivar dreams. Was it truncated? In 1827, Bolivar conceived the first hemispheric conference of American and Panama Congress. Today, 170 years later, and in the American La Realidad, the dream proposed by Bolivar awakens. Crystal and mirror, the dream of a better America makes itself comfortable in the best place to dream, La Realidad, and the intellectual men, the authors of this delirium and madmen who dare to dream our dream before us are, oh my gosh, here we go, Manuluta, Sunez, Simon Bolivar, Ricardo, Enrique Flores Morgan, Emiliano Zapata, Ernesto L. Che Guevara. The 180 years, 85 years, 80 years, 30 years later, we are not the same. We are and are not the same. We are the end, the continuation, and the beginning. We are the mirror that is a crystal. That is a mirror that is a crystal. We are rebelliousness. We are the stubborn history that repeats itself in order to no longer repeat itself, to looking back, to be able to walk forward. We are neoliberalism, maximum defiance, and the most beautiful absurdity, that most irrelevant delirium, and most human madness. Yeah. We are human beings doing what must be done in La Realidad. We are dreaming, but it just occurred to me that what is perhaps most important in La Realidad is to know that to know what is ending, what continues, and especially what is beginning. 180 years after Bolivar and Sunazi's sleepless nights, 85 years after Flores Morgan's prophecy, 80 years after Emilio Zapata's dream, 30 years after El Shei's dreaming the sleeplessness of all true and honest Americans. Today, April 4th, 1996, in the American La Realidad, in the name of the Zapatistas National Liberation Army, I declare the American Planning Meeting of the Intercontinental Encounter for Humanity Against Neoliberalism has officially started at the southeastern time. Brothers and sisters of America, the great world power has not yet found the weapon to destroy dreams. Until it does, we will keep on dreaming. That is to say, we will keep the triumphing. Welcome, brothers and sisters of America. Here in La Realidad, we complete, we continue, we begin the dream. And this is our dream for all of America. Democracy, liberty, and justice. From the mountains of the the Mexican Southwest, Subcomandante Insurgent Marcos. And we'll stop there, 18, but we're going to stop here where it says unjust sentencing for El Ranja and the Antenzen, the Ensign. All right. They brought up Che Guevara. That was awesome. Che Guevara. Thank you for coming up. Sorry, I'm just busy trying to do the bookmark thing real quick. Jesus, I read a lot. What's up? What's up, JoJo? Sorry, I said JoJo.
Hi. So that was a really good reading. I was really enjoying that.
I kind of, I understand that they're saying America, not in the sense of, like, America, because these were the Americas. So I was like, why are we doing this? But, you know, I understand what they're saying. They're talking about the indigenous America, and that the indigenous people are the real Americans, you know, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, great. You will be starting then. Okay, hold up. What did they say? Oh, nice. You got me a 10K. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty good. I think someone else wants to come up. What's up?
I like how it mentioned that the social aspect is important and that it motivates how people function and organize.
Yeah. I wonder where La Realidad is, because I wonder who was there during those meetings. You know what I mean? I'm interested if, like, other indigenous people, because they said it was an indigenous forum, so I wonder if, like, no, they had indigenous people from North America. They said that, yeah. The Northern Brothers and stuff like that. And, like, talking about all those different places that are fighting out against these things. This is, like, history that I think that I lack in, because I have mostly history of, like, and it's brief history of, like places like Africa and stuff like that. So this is helping me kind of learn the Latin American struggles and shit like that. So that's good. I like that part. It's helping me out with that. It's a good start.
I agree. It's a good start.
Yeah. Anything else? Anybody else want to bring up anything else yet?
No, I ain't got anything else.
It's okay. All right then. If no one else has anything to say, I know it's not a lot to talk about, but I hope people got something out of this. I hope people learned something and maybe can take away something from this. You know, I really hope so. You know, so I will go ahead and close it down. I thank you for listening to me while I read. Appreciate that. It's always nice. Good night.
Hello?
Good night.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's your age?
I'm 19.
What did you want?
I'd like, so I just started reading like Marx and all of that. And I just had like some questions about like private property.
What's your question?
Private and so I've been looking into like Mao a lot for like the Great Leap Forward. Was that like attributed to like because the collectivization of farms, or was that just like a natural occurring famine?
The Chinese famine has been in existence since for thousands of years.
Well,
It's seasonal.
I'm talking about during the Great Leap Forward.
It was seasonal.
It was seasonal when literally half the government, like, I don't think it was seasonal because during that he literally put like new policies in. No.
Famines like were existing for thousands.
Yeah, I know famines were existing, but after that, there was only like 2 famines in
And I
the Great
love
Leap
how
Forward.
you like talk over me when I'm trying to give you the information. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, are you really a Marxist?
No, I'm not a Marxist. I'm reading Marx.
What are you?
I'm nothing. I don't know enough about it.
What's your political ideology right now?
I don't have one. I don't.
Okay. After collectivization and after figuring out the Great Leap Forward, collectivization solved the problems of famine, especially in Russia and in China. And some of that Great Leap Forward was due to bad science and also due to the hastiness of even implementing something. And a lot of like some of these people that were supposed to implement these things were opportunistic instead of actually implementing these things. So there's a lot of discretions that caused for that debacle to happen. And at the end of the day, Mao went and did his accountability and stepped down because of those things. But the people brought him back because they saw that he can take accountability and criticism. And he did it better. But it wasn't all on Mao, you know? And not that many people were unalived in that. It's not the 30 million people that were unalived due to that. And those famines still existed before and during the revolution still. Wasn't handled. So like this famine was an essence of the past.
What was I gonna say? All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck on your journey.